Chosen one, this message has been divinely timed for you. It's not by accident that you're here, and it's no coincidence that you've come across these words today. God has a secret message for you, one that may seem unusual but holds profound significance. God is telling you to put salt in your shoes. Now, you may be wondering, what does that even mean? Why salt? And why in your shoes? The truth is, God is showing you a simple yet powerful act of protection, purification, and spiritual fortification. Salt has long been a symbol of divine preservation, a purifier, and a weapon in spiritual warfare. So when God tells you to put salt in your shoes, He's guiding you to prepare for a journey that's more than just physical. It's a spiritual walk, a path that requires strength, resilience, and divine protection. And today, we're going to break down exactly what this message means and how it's preparing you for your next level. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe, because this message is for the chosen ones who've always known there's a greater purpose for your life, and you're now being called to walk in it with divine protection. If this message resonates with your spirit, drop the number 77 in the comments. It's more than just a number. It's a declaration that you're ready to align with God's plan. Step into your destiny and walk boldly with protection every step of the way. Only the truly chosen will stay until the end, and those who do will receive the confirmation, strength, and divine guidance they've been waiting for. Each time you revisit this message, it will unlock something deeper, because when God speaks, it doesn't just inform, it transforms. Chapter 1. Salt as a symbol of purity and preservation. Before we even talk about the shoes, before we talk about where you're going, we have to understand the power of what you're putting in them. Let's talk about salt. Salt is not ordinary, it's not random, it's not just seasoning, it's sacred. All throughout history, across civilizations and spiritual traditions, salt has been revered as a powerful symbol of purity, preservation, and divine protection. In ancient times, salt was so valuable it was once traded ounce for ounce with gold. It was used in rituals, in healing, and most importantly in covenants. In the Bible, salt was used in offerings made to God. In Leviticus 2:13, God commanded that every offering of your grain offering you shall season with salt. Why? Because salt represented a lasting covenant, something pure, uncorrupted, eternal. Salt never spoils, it doesn't rot, it doesn't decay. And that's what your journey is meant to reflect: preserved, purified, protected by the hand of God. When you put salt in your shoes, you're not performing a ritual, you're making a statement to heaven and hell. I walk in covenant. I walk in purity. I walk in divine preservation. You are saying, every step I take is sealed by the Holy One. Every path I enter is protected. Every detour is purified. Salt doesn't just flavor. It fights. It fights decay. It fights contamination. It fights the invisible forces that try to infiltrate what God has called holy. So when God tells you to put salt in your shoes, He's not just protecting your feet. He's purifying your foundation. He's cleansing the journey beneath you. He's ensuring that every step you take is not just forward, but righteous. That you don't just move, but move in alignment. This is bigger than just protection from enemies. It's about cleansing the residue from your past. It's about breaking the spiritual cycles that tried to follow you from old seasons. It's about walking in such purity that even the dust beneath your feet becomes holy ground. Because let's be honest, some of us have walked through dirty places. We've stepped through betrayal, addiction, confusion, trauma. We've walked through valleys that left spiritual mud on our shoes. But salt says, that ends here. Salt says, no more carrying the filth of former things into this new path. Salt declares, this road is sanctified. Salt represents a spiritual detox, a cleansing agent for your journey. And as you step into this new season, this new level, new assignment, new authority, God is not just asking you to move. He's asking you to move with purified purpose. No compromise, no contamination, no confusion, just you, walking step by step in the divine will of God, with every footprint leaving behind a trace of purity, strength, and power. You're not just stepping into opportunity, you're stepping into holiness. This is your salt sea. You are stepping into sacred territory. And your shoes are not just carrying you, they are carrying the covenant. Chapter 2. Walking with Divine Protection. When you put salt in your shoes, you're not just performing a symbolic act, you're stepping into a supernatural reality. You're activating a form of divine protection that covers not just your physical steps, but your spiritual path, your destiny, and your very soul. Your feet are more than just parts of your body. They are instruments of movement, purpose, and direction. They carry you into new seasons, unfamiliar territory, divine assignments, and even spiritual battlegrounds. And when God instructs you to place salt in your shoes, He's giving you more than a protective edge. He's giving you a heavenly shield to walk boldly through whatever lies ahead. Shoes protect your feet. Salt anoints them. Salt sanctifies what your feet touch. It declares to both the natural and the spiritual realm, this vessel is not walking alone. This ground is being claimed for the kingdom. This journey is covered by the hand of God. This is more than symbolism. This is spiritual warfare. Every step you take with salt in your shoes becomes a declaration of dominion. It's as if God is saying, no matter where you go, through dark valleys, unfamiliar cities, even the enemy's camp, you are covered. You are shielded. You are mine. The enemy pays attention to footprints, but when your steps are salted, they carry a warning. Do not touch. This one is marked. You become untouchable, not because of your strength, but because of God's covering. The salt in your shoes becomes like a force field around your feet, a boundary the enemy can't cross. It purifies your steps, but it also fortifies them. You're not just walking, you're marching with divine backup. Just as the Israelites marked their doors with lamb's blood for protection, your salt serves as a spiritual marker, a sign to heaven and hell that you belong to God. Every step becomes a shielded step. Every movement becomes a protected motion. And don't be surprised when places that once overwhelmed you suddenly feel weightless. People who once drained your spirit can no longer access your energy. Attacks that used to land now bounce off like arrows against steel. Why? Because the salt in your shoes speaks before you do. It cleanses the space before your words are even spoken. It prepares the atmosphere for your arrival. You're not just walking through physical spaces, you're walking through spiritual dimensions. And salt is your key to walking through them safely, powerfully, and anointed. You'll begin to notice the shift, a heightened sense of discernment, a stronger spiritual awareness, a peace that travels with you even into places that once felt chaotic. This isn't about superstition, it's about activation. It's about obeying a divine instruction that opens up a new level of spiritual security. Psalm 91 says, "He will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." Now imagine that promise combined with the salt in your shoes. That's double-layer protection. You are not exposed. You are not walking blind. You are walking in a divine covering that nothing unclean can penetrate. Chapter 3. A call to walk in obedience. When God gives a command, it is never casual. It is never random. Every divine instruction is laced with purpose, timing, and spiritual power. And when He tells you to do something, especially something that doesn't make logical sense, He's not testing your intellect. He's training your faith. Putting salt in your shoes may seem strange to the human mind, but to the kingdom of God, it's a prophetic act of alignment, obedience, and trust. Obedience is one of heaven's highest currencies. It's not about understanding why, it's about trusting who, because the truth is, God doesn't always explain the outcome before the instruction. He's not obligated to make the details make sense. What he desires most is your yes. And when you obey, even without clarity, you unlock spiritual access. You tap into favor that logic can't reach. You walk through doors that talent alone couldn't open. You inherit blessings that only obedience can birth. Let's look at the patterns in Scripture. It was obedience that led Noah to build an ark before there was even a cloud in the sky. It was obedience that led Abraham to leave his homeland before he knew where he was going. It was obedience that led the widow to pour her last bit of oil before she saw it multiply. It was obedience that led Naaman to dip in. It's about proving to heaven that you trust God's voice more than your logic. And that's what you're doing when you put salt in your shoes. You're telling God, I don't need to understand to obey. I trust your whisper more than I trust my reasoning. I'm willing to look foolish in the eyes of men to be faithful in the eyes of heaven. Every step you take with salt in your shoes becomes a symbol of surrender. It says, Lord, I'll go where you send me. I'll do what you ask, even if it's quiet, even if no one claps, even if no one understands. This is how you step into the next level of your life, not through striving, not through self-promotion, but through simple, quiet, powerful obedience. It's not always the big, dramatic moves that shift destiny. Sometimes it's the hidden acts of obedience, the private yes, the silent faith, the unseen trust that cause the heavens to move on your behalf. When you obey this instruction to salt your steps, you're not just walking, you're walking with God. You're saying, God, order my steps, purify my journey, protect my soul. I trust that you're leading me into something I can't yet see. And here's what's coming on the other side of your obedience. Unexplainable favor, supernatural breakthroughs, divine redirection, elevation without compromise, peace in the middle of the unknown, because obedience always produces what effort cannot. Chapter 4. Spiritual Warfare. Protecting your steps from negative energies. Spiritual warfare is real. It's not just something that happens in dramatic moments. It's happening every day, all around you, often in silence and in shadows. The battles you face aren't always physical or visible. Many times they are spiritual. And the most dangerous attacks don't come from obvious enemies. They come from hidden intentions, unspoken jealousy, and silent opposition. That's why you can't afford to walk through life spiritually unprotected. Salt has been used for centuries as a sacred tool in spiritual warfare. It's not superstition, it's symbolism backed by spiritual truth. Salt is a purifier. It cleanses what's unclean, it neutralizes what's toxic, it preserves what is good. When you put salt in your shoes, you are not just doing something symbolic. You are declaring war on every unseen force trying to trip you up. You are telling the enemy, I'm covered, I'm protected, I will not be touched. Everywhere your foot steps, the salt acts as a spiritual boundary. It sends a message into the atmosphere. No evil can enter here. You're no longer walking unaware. You're walking with spiritual authority. You're walking with heaven's backing. Not everyone around you is for you. Not every smile is sincere. Some people are silently hoping for your downfall. Others may be drawn to your light, but carry darkness in their hearts. This is why God is calling you to be spiritually alert. Salt in your shoes becomes your defense, your silent shield against everything spoken and unspoken that's working against you. It covers you from jealousy disguised as friendship, envy hidden behind compliments, sabotage masked as advice, energy vampires who drain your spirit, environments charged with negativity, spirits of confusion, fear, and doubt. With every step you take, you're claiming back your spiritual territory. You're saying, my peace is guarded, my purpose is shielded, my progress will not be delayed. You'll begin to notice the difference. Suddenly, toxic people will feel uncomfortable around you. Suddenly, places that used to overwhelm you will lose their power. Suddenly, the confusion you used to feel will lift. It's not luck. It's spiritual clarity. It's divine protection. God didn't call you to walk blindly. He called you to walk boldly, with discernment, with protection, with wisdom. And salt is part of the armor He's given you to wear. It may be small, but its power is great. This isn't about fear, it's about fortification. This isn't about paranoia, it's about preparation. You don't fight with fists, you fight with faith. You don't argue with the enemy. You step over him with confidence. Salt in your shoes gives you that confidence. It's a reminder that every step you take is covered in the authority of God. So keep walking forward, keep guarding your path, keep protecting your peace. When God tells you to put salt in your shoes, He's not just protecting your walk. He's anointing your path for something brand new. He's declaring that the season you're stepping into will not look like the one you're leaving behind. You've been through some things. You've carried burdens no one saw. You fought silent battles and walked through storms that tried to take you out. But now something is shifting. There's a change in the atmosphere, a divine turning point. And God is using this small symbolic act to usher in something major, your new beginning. Salt, in the spiritual sense, is a purifier, but it's also a preserver of what's valuable. When salt is added to something, it changes it. It awakens the flavor. It preserves the essence. It makes the ordinary extraordinary. And that's what God is doing in your life right now. He's waking up the part of you that was dormant. He's preserving the calling that almost got buried under the weight of life. He's transforming your ordinary walk into a supernatural journey. This is not just about protection anymore. This is about promise. Every step you take now is prophetic. Every move is meaningful. You are stepping into a season where nothing will be wasted. Not your pain, not your past, not even the times you stumbled. All of it is being used to prepare you for what's coming. With salt in your shoes, God is seasoning your life with clarity, where there was once confusion, confidence where there was once fear, direction where there was once delay, joy where there was once sorrow, divine timing where there was once frustration. This is a spiritual reset, a cleansing of your path, a realignment of your soul. And the beauty of it all, you don't have to strive for it. You just have to walk in it. You'll begin to notice the shift. Your mindset will start to elevate. Your spirit will feel lighter. Opportunities will start opening with less resistance. Doors that once refused to budge will now swing wide, not because you forced them, but because you're aligned with what God has ordained. Salt in your shoes is a declaration. I'm not going back. I'm not stuck. I'm moving forward. And I'm doing it with purpose. This new beginning won't come with chaos. It will come with confirmation. You'll know you're in the right place because your soul will be at peace, even if your surroundings haven't caught up yet. That's how you know God is leading. You're not just starting over. You're starting right. You're not going in circles. You're stepping into cycles of favor. You're not repeating old patterns. You're walking into divine patterns set by God Himself. So don't be surprised when you start attracting things you prayed for years ago. Don't be shocked when people begin to see your light and favor before you even speak. It's not a coincidence. It's a confirmation. You've stepped into your next chapter, and it's flavored with grace, favor, and destiny. Salt in your shoes means your journey is no longer random. It's redeemed. So lift your head, straighten your back, walk like someone who knows they've been assigned to greater. This is your new beginning, and this time you're walking with purpose, power, and protection. Chapter 6. Salt represents your destiny. When you place salt in your shoes, you're not performing a ritual. You're making a prophetic statement. You're telling heaven and earth, I'm ready to walk in divine alignment. I'm ready to step into who I truly am. This simple act becomes a spiritual agreement between you and God. It's a sign that you are no longer walking aimlessly. You are walking intentionally toward destiny. Salt, in ancient times, was more valuable than gold. It was a form of currency. It preserved life. It held weight. And in the spiritual realm, salt still carries that same significance. It represents value, covenant, preservation, and now your destiny. By putting salt in your shoes, you are symbolically declaring that your steps are too valuable to waste. You are aligning your feet, your movement, your choices, your direction with the divine blueprint written for your life long before you were born. This is not about chance anymore. This is about calling. Destiny has always been chasing you, but now you're walking toward it with clarity, with purpose, and with sacred awareness. Each step you take with salt in your shoes is a step away from confusion and delay, and a step closer to clarity and divine timing. The road may not be easy, but it is anointed. And when God orders your steps, no enemy can block them, no detour can. The right people begin to notice you, not because you're loud, but because your presence is anointed. You begin to feel peace, even when the path is unfamiliar, because your steps are no longer random. They're righteous. Salt in your shoes is also a symbol that the journey you're on is not about speed. It's about purpose. You don't have to rush. You don't have to compete. You don't have to prove anything. Destiny is not a race. It's a divine unfolding, and with salt under your feet, God is teaching you to walk at the pace of peace. Some people won't understand the shift happening in you. They'll see you moving differently, talking differently, choosing differently, and that's okay, because your path isn't about being understood. It's about being obedient. And your obedience is unlocking new levels of purpose. You're not who you used to be. You're no longer walking in circles. You've stepped into alignment. And alignment is the birthplace of destiny. From now on, don't be surprised when the wrong opportunities fall away, the wrong people walk out, the chaos begins to quiet. That's not rejection, it's realignment. God is making room for the life you were always meant to live. With salt in your shoes, your walk is sacred, your steps are protected, your direction is anointed, and your destiny is no longer a distant dream, it's your next destination. You're not wandering, you're being led, you're not lost, you're being launched, you're not delayed, you're being developed. Chapter 7. Trusting God to lead your steps. Finally, when you put salt in your shoes, you're doing more than following an instruction. You are making a declaration of trust. You're telling God, I may not know where this path leads, but I trust the one who does. It's a quiet surrender, a release of your own control in exchange for divine direction. This simple act becomes a powerful expression of faith. You're not walking by sight anymore. You're walking by trust. And trust means moving forward even when the road is unclear, even when things don't add up, even when fear whispers in your ear. Trust means you keep stepping because you know God is going before you. When God leads your steps, every detour has a purpose. Every delay becomes development. Every closed door is a redirection, not rejection. You begin to understand that nothing is random when your life is in His hands. And here's the shift that happens in your spirit. You no longer chase what isn't yours. You no longer panic when things don't go your way. You no longer question your worth when people walk away. Instead, you walk with peace. You walk with power. You walk with quiet confidence, knowing that your journey is covered. God's protection isn't just about keeping danger away. It's about keeping you aligned with your purpose, your calling, your anointing. With salt in your shoes, you're not just protected from what's behind you. You're positioned for what's ahead of you. There will be moments when you feel unsure. There will be days when you're tempted to take back control. But every time you feel that uncertainty rise, remember this: your steps are ordered, and God does not make mistakes. So you keep walking, you keep trusting, you keep showing up, even when you don't feel ready. Because the path you're on now is not just any path, it's a divinely guided journey, and the one leading you has already seen the end from the beginning. You may not know what tomorrow holds, but you know who holds tomorrow. And that's enough. So lace up your shoes. Let the salt remind you. God's got this. You don't have to figure it all out. You just have to keep stepping, one step at a time, one moment at a time. And with every step, you're walking closer to the promise. Chosen one, God's secret message is simple yet powerful. Put salt in your shoes. This act is a symbol of divine protection, purification, and destiny. With every step you take, you are walking in the favor and authority of God. The journey ahead may not always be easy, but with salt in your shoes, you are walking confidently into your purpose, surrounded by divine protection and aligned with God's plan for your life. Your steps are covered, your path is protected. Trust the process and walk boldly.